What's up, everyone?
Happy Friday.
All two people who are watching right now,
We
I
thank you.
appreciate you.
We thank you. Besides
Uh,
ourselves.
this is going to be fun. I can guarantee it. I want to make sure that, you know, 7 o'clock, sorry,
On the
uh,
dot.
7 o'clock on the dot, and I'm not in the drop top. I'm
Or
actually
cruising the streets.
or cruising the streets. I'm in here talking to you. Uh, yeah, let's do it. This is gonna be fun, dude.
Okay, so just this morning, last night I asked what we were going to talk about, and Joe was like, I haven't even thought about it, hadn't got that far. I was like, cool. This morning, talked to him this morning, and he's like, guess what? We're talking about finances. I was like, okay, we can talk about finances. It's definitely something that I think a lot of marriages, obviously it's a huge part.
They say that like as far as marriages that are struggling financially, they say like $500, an extra $500 will cure a majority of all of the like financial disagreements that you see in a marriage.
Why do you think there's so many financial disagreements? Why is finances between why? Like why? Is it would you say it's because what is like the big discrepancy? Like any of you that chime in, like what is the biggest issue? Do you have an idea of where you should spend the money? Where shouldn't you? What like this is my money, it's not your money.
Only 500 or less is all that is necessary. I know some of y'all like shit. I probably need about a good 2,500 to cover me up for the month, but most of the rest of the people, it's legit $500.
Hmm.
I mean, when you think about that, right? $500 is not a lot of money to lose your entire family over.
Well, it's got to be deeper than that. Do you think the money that finances? Do you think that there's a deeper message, or is it just a matter of like?
That's the thing, and that's what we're here to discuss, right? It's like money is a huge deal.
It is.
I don't care what nobody say. Money is what makes it's the coal that makes the steamboat go, right? Like you can't move forward if you're not burning coal. You can't move forward. You can't progress your family down the line if you don't have finances. And a majority of us deal with finances that barely get us to the next day.
Like the lack of
right. Like a lot of us, what they say, I heard somebody say, I make enough money to cover myself for 13 out of the 30 days that I live, and the rest of them I just gotta, I make it work. Mm. And then you think like, why do we make it work? Because we've had a lot of discussion about finances. We manage our own finances. We do all of these things, but it's hard. And the number one thing is in the very, very beginning, literally, is that you just don't make enough money to do any of the other stuff that they keep telling you that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like save.
Yeah. Like save. I don't make enough money to put food on the table. Why the hell would I save any dollars?
Right. It's really hard when the immediate needs are like right there. Like even if you don't even have a family, your own personal immediate needs seem like a lot. So now add in the fact that you now have a partner and children, like you don't have enough money for the food, or even like if you have enough, it is not the type of food that you want, because we all know that the real food that we want really is costly. Even before eggs were $500.
No crap
for like a dozen. Oh. I'm gonna buy. I really feel like I should become a farmer.
I'm not as flexible as I used to be.
I like the way you try to
legs up here, and I'm like leaning all
the way. I feel like you're trying to show some like meat over here.
Whoa, that's what she said.
Oh,
I could technically show you my meat, and they wouldn't even know. I was supposed to say that.
This guy.
Just saying, I could. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. But let's talk about our financial story from the beginning.
Okay, so
now obviously I'm not gonna tell you all my damn business. I'm grown and I shouldn't tell everybody my business, but I do want to be as transparent as I need to be to get my point across.
Okay.
All right. So I can tell you straight up in the beginning, when me and Julia met, we didn't have not a pot to piss in, not a single one.
We both worked security at the airport
for TSA. Patting people down. Patting people down, going through your luggage. That's what we did. every, you know what I'm saying? And we made, how much did you make there?
Oh
Like
my
13
gosh.
bucks, huh?
Yeah.
It's like 13, 14 bucks.
Yeah, I know I didn't at the time. I felt like I was just like, oh my gosh, $900 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Come on, bring it on.
Yep. And when we met each other, we both had a child. So she had a son and I had a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That daughter is turning
18 tomorrow. Our oldest two are.
And she was only 10 months when I met Julia, and her son. Well, my son was what?
Okay, so Dominic was 2.
He was 2
when we first got together.
And he's 20.
Right. Maya was 9 months old when I first laid eyes on her fluffy hair.
Yeah. So we met. I had just left my daughter's mother. I was living at my friend's house. And I met her and didn't have anything. I barely was making it with what I did have, preparing for a custody battle that I put myself in.
Oh man, our story's rough. I was still going through a divorce.
She was still going through a divorce at the time that was costing a boatload of money, and we had to combine finances. A large part of our story has been one of us working and the other one being at home at some point in time. So every single opportunity that we had, we never really brought in 2 incomes at the same time, other than for maybe out of the last 18 years, probably like 3 years.
Yeah, there was always
18
something.
years that we were bringing in income like that.
Full income. I think another thing to point out is that when Gerald and I first got together, not only did we both bring our oldest 2 into the relationship together, Gerald and I got together really fast, and then I found out I was pregnant like 5 minutes later. And then 10 minutes later,
because your boy got gang.
I wish I could say it wasn't that.
I got gang.
He did ridiculous stuff like come into my workspace and be like, well, sometimes you just don't know what God puts in front of you, say ridiculous stuff like that and then like walk away. And I was like, oh my God, maybe God's trying to tell me something, but that's not the point of this.
I wish I was lighter skinned so I can put it on thick right now.
You can't, Gerald, you can't be any more than it be like transparent skin.
Whoa.
You're very fair. It's interesting to listen to you. You're very fair.
Whoa.
That wasn't a negative thing. I'm lighter.
It sounded like you just took a shot at me, low key.
No, you're already
told me I was transparent.
No, I said if you were any lighter, like you're already light complected, Gerald.
No, you're light.
I'm like white. I'm not even light.
That's because you're an essay.
Oh.
You're Mexican.
Oh. I'm mixing up the.
Mexicans are bright.
I mean, some.
That's what makes you not black.
I mean, some are dark.
Oh, I guess.
I was like, my grandpa is dark.
I'll take it all back. All right, back to the story.
Okay, the point is, so when we first met, we got pregnant really fast. We just can't help ourselves. We got pregnant really fast, and then we were in a car accident. Gerald and I were in a rollover car accident, really, really bad. We decided at that point, we're going to be together. Like, we're going to make this work. I got a baby, you got a baby. I like you, you like me. Oh, yeah, that's from the car accident. And immediately at that point, Gerald's spleens ruptured, and we moved in together. And his friends, that's a whole other story. But our finances, because Gerald couldn't work at that time. And then I was pregnant, and so we were just really, really poor. So
pinching pennies.
And so
living off love.
That's what we say. We were living off love. And what ended up happening is at that time, as soon as we were together, what I did, I've always told Gerald, I'd rather have $20 together than $10 apart. That's just, I've said it from day one. I tell my children that. It's just something that I live by.
Excuse
me. Oh my God, all this space.
Come on.
Oh.
I've been trying to get up here.
Come
on, come sit down.
I see. But I added him, yes, the choice we made for love. I added him to the bank account. Like, we immediately put our finances together. I know. We put our finances together, and it was just that. Like, that's that. We're together. It's my bank account. If this is the money that I'm bringing in right now, then you're bringing it in. Like, we sat down, we looked over bills. Some of the bills we couldn't pay. That's just a little backstory. So from the very beginning, we put our finances together. Not everybody does that, which is why I like to tell people. Because we did.
And like she said, we put those finances together because we didn't have a choice. There's no point in having 2 bank accounts with $3 in it. We might as well just have 6 and figure out how we're going to feed somebody. So, and it was throughout that time, it was, $20 a month, $20 a week for food, but we made it.
Buy low.
Exactly. Fast
Vital.
forward to us sitting down and having some really hard financial situations, which I would say has to be the first step, especially if you're in a situation where you need to make some financial changes. And that was, how are we going to bring in more money? Like, what are the steps? Like, what do we need to do to bring in more money to our household, because we are spending all of our time outside of this house, away from each other and away from our kids, and we can't even take care of them when we get all together. Like, we can't even, low key can't even get dinner together. So what can we do to make more money? So we sat down, we had our first conversation, and out of that conversation, the choice or the decision was made for me to go back to school and for her to start a daycare. So she started a home daycare and she worked her freaking tail off for, how long was that?
I had the daycare for 8 years.
8 years, while I went to school and got my associates, bachelor's, master's, and everything else. And I think it was the last 2 of those years that she had the daycare that I was also working in my profession. So that's the first 2 years. And that our kids was,
This is like I started the daycare right after our youngest was born. He's now.
I'm talking about the last 2 years. So that's about 6 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
So about 6 years ago, actually, was the first time that we got two incomes in the house.
Actually, maybe even seven.
Yeah, 7 years ago. So 7 years ago was the first time that we got two incomes in the house. So mission accomplished. Next conversation that we have now that we have money coming in is, what do we need to do to buy a house? How can we move our family into a house that is is ours? We don't even think we had a conversation about what the house needed to be, how it needed to look. We figured that we would make all those decisions when we got there. But at this stage, we knew we needed to get one. So what we have to do? So we took that money and we listened to a person help us get our credit together and put ourselves in position to purchase a home, and we accomplished that. That home has been ridiculous, but what has happened is that now we have to, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And what we want to discuss today about finances is kind of a strategy and a bunch of different ways we can utilize, we can get on the same page with money. So I'm not necessarily, Julie and I, we aren't necessarily going to teach you.
Yeah, we're
We're
not
not
going
going
to
to
teach
teach you what to do. We're going to share our strategy and the
you.
things that we've done, and then we'll give you a couple things that you have to take into consideration for sure.
Right.
We want you to take into consideration as it pertains to your family's finances.
Right. I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's important first is to take note that in the very beginning of Gerald and my relationship, and I think in any relationship that you're in, especially marriage, you have to discuss beforehand how you want to handle your finances. I came to understand very early on in Gerald and my relationship that not all marriages join their incomes together.
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents have had their income together the entire time. Like my father worked. It was a very traditional like type of household. Like my father worked outside, and then my mom stayed home. But all of them were together. There was never a point where I heard like, "This is my money, not yours." Same thing with my grandparents. Like both of them worked, but it was still joined. And so Gerald and I knew that we wanted to join our finances. And you have to determine what you want to do for your family.
Yeah, I will say back then it's a little different, right? Like one person could work and take care of the entire family off of one salary. We do not live in that day and age right now. Mm-hmm. Like our minimum wage is at a place where it's not even enough to cover much of it, the minimum basic needs. You know, not even, yeah, it is literally, our minimum wage is a step up salary, so to speak, which isn't a bad thing. It is how you, whatever. I don't want to ramble about it, but we go ahead.
I don't know where I'm going.
I don't know where I'm going with that, so I'm out of here. Abort.
Okay, so I think that's the thing. We had decided early on that we were going to join our finances. They just kind of, it was this. Gerald wasn't working at the beginning of our relationship. I was the only one working, and it was like, this is what we're doing. And you guys have to decide for yourself, how do you want to manage finances?
In the beginning, when
we first got together. And I think
at the airport.
Yeah, but then you got into a car accident and you got let go. and then I was working during pregnancy.
Oh, like at the bank.
Yeah, well, I was working at the airport through TSA. It wasn't until
Oh,
afterwards.
that yeah. Like we're telling stories, and like legit, these stories go from like day one to like
Yes.
9 months. So like she's like, oh, in the very beginning. I'm like, in the very beginning.
Like
What
how?
talking
What are
about?
we?
I was working.
2 minutes in, or
You
15
mean like,
minutes
oh,
in?
you mean the first 2 weeks of your pregnancy?
The point of what I was making, the point of what I was trying to say, no knock to you, was we joined our finances really from the get-go. And I think that one way to tailor the fights with finances is determining how you will manage your household. I've seen some families and marriages that successfully manage to where I have this money, and we contribute into the main fund. I've also seen families where it doesn't work because you have one person that makes a significantly larger amount than the other partner, and they're still contributing the same amount, which leaves this person that has more with all of this, and so it's not equally necessarily divided, and that causes conflicts. I think it's important to understand that these things should be revisited throughout time. If you are going to choose to remain in separate finances, as you continue to progress in your career and your income gain, like we've done over the years, then it's important to kind of readjust. If you're making 35,
there's also a reason why we joined, and it worked throughout our relationship. We joined finances because we didn't have anything apart, so we might as well put our nothing together. B, I went to school first, and I still have a man's ego, so to speak. At the time, especially at the time, I'm 23, 24 years
oh
old.
my gosh, a baby.
I'm 23, 24 years old. I'm like, I don't want to be in a relationship where my wife is taking care of me. Like, so my wife was being very gracious, stroked my ego, let me pay, let me feel like I was the one making the money, all of that. So I appreciate
No
you for
problem.
letting me feel like
You know what? Actually,
because these are the parts of these are the nuances that we don't talk about when we talk about finances, right? We always talk about what to do, how to do it, but we don't ever talk about how personality plays a role,
yeah,
how who you are, what you stand for, your morals, your beliefs, and everything in between, how that plays into how you manage your finances.
That's actually good.
And then also identifying where your flaws and your weaknesses is, and then matching that up against some of these social issues that we have as well. For me, like I 100% subscribe to the typical man's way of doing things where I have to pay everything and I have to manage the bills. But guess what? I shop like a woman. I don't care. I'll say it out there for everybody to see. I shop like a woman. I mean, if I get bored, I'm gonna buy something. I guarantee you. If I have idle time to myself, I'm gonna spend some dollars.
Amazon.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend something on something that I don't need at all. So she's not the one with the spinning problem. I am. I pan this camera around and you'll see all the thousands of dollars that I've just sunken into places in my house. This room, my office, my garage is a full gym, everything. I got about $40,000 worth of just shit in here.
Shoes
that I don't even like. Yeah,
our youngest
shoes.
Is waiting to fit into them.
My youngest son is waiting to be a size 11 so he can grab all of these Jordans I've been buying and putting in the closet. I just buy stuff. So because I know that I'm that person and I'm going to spend all my little money up, then it's probably a smart thing, wise thing, maybe the man thing to do. To pass that shit off, pass it off. I can't do nothing with it. So if I pass it off to her because she is like, her dad is like this too.
They balance the checkbook to the penny.
Like I'm talking about balance the checkbook will come holler at you for $3 to $4. Like where these $3 to $4 was at, and I was like, I don't know. I'll give you how I am with my. I come downstairs. I went to my car to grab something out of it. Found $5 in the bottom, like just on the floor. I was like, oh shit, it's my lucky day. Grabbed the $5. Walked in the house. Gerald was like, "Can I have that $5?" I was like, "Huh," because I grew up. I grew up not having nothing, like nothing, like school clothes, school shoes, toiletries, dinner. Like maybe, especially when I was in high school, when I was living with my dad in high school, shit, lucky you get some dinner sometimes. But then when we got married, we got dinner and stuff like that. But in the beginning, for the most
I
part,
saved him.
and for the most part in the beginning, I didn't have nothing.
And we
So-
only had dinner because of the stamps.
So all I know is hustling. Like, and not I don't mean hustling like selling dope or anything like that. I don't want to say that that was my life. You know what I mean?
If it was your life, then you really hit it well because we struggled. So if you were hustling and you
No, I
were
mean when I
sharing,
was young. I mean.
oh, gotcha. I thought you were talking when we were
No,
together.
no,
I was
shit.
like,
If I was hustling, I was hustling when we was together, but on something else.
Mm.
That's why we kept getting lump sums of money every now and again.
this guy. How many people
At least
probably walk
18,
around?
18 years just getting lump sum after lump sum, and then being broke for 2 months, and then getting $30,000, and then being broke for 12 days, and then getting 16,000, and then being broke. Yeah, that's just
we go through this cycle of like we're saving, like we go through this cycle of like making, saving, and then like something happens. Sometimes the things that happen are because of us. Sometimes the things that happen because of circumstances. 2 people, 4 children. There's always something bound to happen. We're constantly spending. If you look at your bank account and you see $3,500 in there, this is something
and all
that
your bills are paid.
Right.
Like, oh shit, it's date night.
right, and it doesn't seem
Or at least I am.
right. It's let's say 3,500, which isn't like an astronomically large amount, but it's a decent amount to have in there after everything. So you got $3,500 in there. So I'm looking at it. I'll nickel and dime little tiny things. Like I'm not a huge spender of like big things all at once. Mine's like tiny little things. Like I go to Ross and I'm like, ooh, $12.99. I love it. So between me doing little things and then Gerald,
Not me.
between Gerald and I, like it's easy to nickel and dime, and then to have something actually happen, like where now you have a sudden emergency and you have to spend $1,400 on tires.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Suddenly,
Real story.
Suddenly, the
Start
bank
thinking
has to go
about
down.
all the Jordans that I got in my closet. I need 4 tires, and I got a pair of 11s. I got 4 pair of 11s upstairs. They all cost $200 a pop, and I've only wore one of them.
And you don't walk
scuffed it.
nowhere.
I don't even.
I don't even walk anywhere.
I don't walk nowhere for real.
We walk to the car.
That's it.
We walk to the car.
You know, to have all that and then spend it. So
Right.
the reason why I brought that up is because I think it's important for you to understand and identify where you are and where your flaws are. I'm speaking directly to the men. They have they already have the template for what you're supposed to be, and it's already hard enough for us trying to live up to that standard, so to speak. So it's important for you to make your own standard. If you know that you're not good in this area with your finances, then you need to give it up. Period.
If your partner or vice versa, whoever is good at it, we need to not go to those social norms. So what Gerald's saying is he's not as good with the finances. I'm really good at making sure things. I have lists. I keep a tally of everything gets paid monthly. I check paid in full, partial payment, payment arrangement over the years. Like I keep a list. I keep the confirmation number. I can go back. Oh, what is going on back here? I have about, don't ask. I can probably go back in bills probably till about 2016. Do I need to? And I'm talking about a hard copy, like a monthly paper that has what was paid, how much at the bottom, the extra things. So if you're not as good at it, then let it go and just pass it on to the person and don't feel any kind of way.
Because I don't have none of that. Like, I swipe my car like this. Yes, it went through. Let's go. I don't expect it not to go through. I just be like, there you go. Get my stuff. I don't know how much is in there, but it should be enough. And then one day to be like, beep. I'm like, what happened? Oh, 4 things came out at once and I forgot about it.
Right. I'd be interested for anybody that does chime in. Who is really the handler of the finances within the household, or who makes sure things get paid? And how is that determined? How is that determined? I think we just kind of naturally eased into that. Like I kept the tally. Do you think there was ever a point in time where you fought to like pay the bills, or were you just like? I feel like you just was like, when we first met, I had bills that I would pay on the first part of the month and the second part, so I divvied out between the paychecks. It was always set out like that.
I was just like, you want to take mine too? Here you go. I got a cell phone and an apartment. Pay that too. I'll give you my money. That's kind of how it worked too, right? I was just like, I'll just deposit my money in your bank account.
Yeah,
And
really.
then you could just do whatever is necessary and just put a little money off to the side for me so I can buy some beers.
I was seriously.
At the time.
Yeah, I was banking with Navy Federal at the time, and honestly, we still have that. We still have that checking account. Like that's where our children's checking accounts are right now. Stuff like that. Like we kind of established
Yeah.
that. And truthfully, honestly, we're talking about finances. Finances has not been anything we necessarily have argued about. It's been the one space I always felt like we were saved from not having to argue about finances because God and the world knew we wouldn't be able to handle it. We wouldn't have been able to handle
So
finances.
God knew that we was gonna go through a whole bunch of stuff,
Enough.
and I wasn't gonna be mature enough to be whatever I needed to be in the moment. So we need not argue about money.
Right. The last thing we need to do is just order the Pizza Hut, bro. Just order the Pizza Hut. Just do what you need to do.
So I do want to, because I don't want to spend, I don't want to spend too much time just kind of like rambling and rambling. Let's talk about. I'm going to share with you guys our strategy and how we do our money, and then some of the things that we think about as you begin to build your own strategy. Okay. So most people that just have a checking account, right? I know plenty of married people. Each person has a checking account, and then they hand one of the other person who's in charge of paying their portion of the bills. Like married couples do this. Everybody does this. I know some people who don't do that and they combine their finances. So I'm going to discuss how we do it in a combined situation. In our idea, obviously, we fuck this up all the time, but but I'll tell you the strategy, and now I got a couple stories for you as to how much money I be blowing. $34,000 in July. I just spent it out of nowhere, just gone. So we have one main checking account. Every dollar that we make, outside of the money that I make from the business, every money that I pay myself from the business, though, gets deposited into this one account. So Julia gets her paychecks, my paychecks, they all go into that one account first. At the same bank, we have three other accounts. We have a savings account. We have a second checking account that we call our household management account. And then no, it's not a car account anymore. It's the household management account. We changed it, remember?
Oh, you're right.
And then we have one household American Express card. That card is kind of how, ideally, that card is for us to use for emergencies, as well as our two college children in Reno to be able to have quick access to funds without having to call mom and dad. So if they're in college and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and something crazy happened and you get out of the situation, they need to get out of the situation and then call me and tell me about it later. So that's how we have that. So again, we have one main account. We have a household account. That household account covers all of the random bullcrap swipes. Actually, it covers all of the random swipes that we do on a day-to-day that happens for the household. So you need broccoli or oil or butter or something from the grocery store, that comes out of the household account. Gas comes out of the household account. What else comes out of the household account? Gas, groceries, clothing, clothing, everything. So from that main account, we budget where money goes from there. You leaving? All right. So, what you want? Oh, you got. Okay, you're not doing that. Go lay down. Go. Thank you. So, where was I? From the main account, all of our monthly recurring bills come out of cell phone, mortgage, the rental property checks get deposited there and paid from there. What else?
Insurance, like all
insurance.
Of like
yeah, everything comes from that account.
The automatics.
There you go. Then I have an Apple Pay card, an Apple credit card, and she has an Apple credit card. That is to cover our daily allowances. So The reason why we have those cards is for two reasons. I don't need her to know what I like to buy myself. I just told you, $40,000 worth of shit in my house. So you're gonna find out at some point in time. I just don't want you to find out when I buy it. I want it to get here, get set up, put away, and then 3 months from now you're like, oh, that's nice. When did you get it? Oh, it was a while. I've been at it for a minute.
Been making those payments.
Mm-hmm. So
that's the first reason why we have it. The second reason why we have it is the second reason is because everything is combined, there is no way to surprise each other. It is very difficult to surprise each other for birthdays or anniversaries when everything you do is combined. And I really can't hide a purchase to, like, I can't even think of, like, if I'm buying something from somewhere, it's really hard to buy a pit barrel or buy something like that for, like, why would I be buying these things? So that's the biggest one, so that we can do things for each other.
So that's the two reasons why we have those two cards, and that's it. We also have another a brokerage account that we send money to. We haven't actually sent any money over there in a year, and we actually like liquidated a lot of it because I was navigating the finances of my business, and also got tough. COVID happened.
I was student teaching. There was a part of things like I was still in school. We just hadn't got to that place. We kind of income decreased.
Exactly. So we put a lot of stuff on credit cards, and we'll tell that story after the fact. But that's the core structure. Every dollar comes into one account, and then we have. That's what she said.
Wow.
And then we budget from their whole dollars into the other accounts, and then at the end of the month, we take a look at whatever is left over. On average, obviously, we have to do that at the end of the month because I can make negative $10,000 this month, legit, or I can make $30,000. It just depends on how we do and what's going on and things like that. So it could literally be I owe money, or we just got busy. So we have to factor everything at the end. But we know that our basic money that's coming in covers all of our expenses with an extra. So if I don't make any money, my business does terribly, we'd be able to pay all of our bills with about $3,000 left over. So every single month we discuss that $3,000. If we got some extra credit card debt, like she bought something for me, or I bought something for her, and it now needs to get paid off, like that's the time that it happens.
That
like,
part is how
although exactly. Although she surprised me, I still got to pay for it. That's just how it works. So that's the basic structure. Money comes in, and then we budget from there. We have a little bit left over to either move to, if we have a big thing that we got coming up, like we're going to Cancun in June of next year. Everybody's going. It's like 20 of us. We're paying for everybody, or we're paying for a majority.
At least 6 of them.
At least 6. I probably more like 8 of them. Yeah, probably like 8 to 10 of them. So we gotta factor that shit in. Then we take that little money and we toss it up. That's the core structure. From our brokerage account, we have a whole life insurance policy. Like I said, we haven't been contributing as much as we need to in there because we were starting a business at the same time. So we have that account and we deposit money into that. Now, there are a handful of things that I want to bring up that someone texted me earlier today about some of the stuff that you have to take into consideration when you're putting together your financial plan. Because the theme of our show, right, is creating communication so that you and your spouse can discuss, agree to, and implement whatever marriage tactics, strategies, day by day stuff that you want to do. Stop listening to everybody else tell you what you should do. And how about you talk to your significant other and y'all come to a conclusion as to what should happen?
Right. I think it's okay to be inspired. Like it's okay to be inspired by other things. Like we've definitely been inspired by lots of things. One of the biggest things that I think contributed to our finances is one of the big things that we did is we would literally kind of go through and make a list. Like we didn't know how powerful that was at the time, but we would really make lists of all the things that we wanted and how and kind of plan those things out on notebook paper and writing stuff down. And people always talk about how powerful that is. But when you think about it, if someone's going through something, you tell them to journal. Well, finances, I feel, kind of are the same exact thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with putting that plan into action and not plan into action, but creating the plan, having an idea of what you want and how you want to manage it. So, visualizing is good.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, when it comes to the finances, once we do that, like, we break everything down. But another thing to keep in mind is that with our finances, like Joe said, it comes and it goes. Like, we have really high months and then we have, like, some really dry months. And one of the things that we now have to worry about is we're now in a stage where we have 2 children in college right now. 2. We've now successfully made it to 50% children. And those 50% kids are still like, we have tuition, and that is difficult. And we've.
I can see the mountain top of freedom.
Oh my gosh. And it's been hard. And there's been times where we've had to have help ourselves. And then, like, oh my gosh. There's no line and no topic that's safe. Nothing is safe.
Everything can get it. That's what she said. So, a couple things that we want to discuss about your finances too is our strategy is our strategy, and we're just telling you some things that you need to think about. So here's the first thing. Where does the money go? Who gets the money and where does it go? Who has control over it? I believe that if you have 2 people, right, and they prefer for their checks to be deposited to themselves and then they can disperse it, you still need a family account. You still need at least one family account. If you are a family, you should have one family account, in my opinion.
It's just our opinion. We're not professionals.
Or do you think? I think I can't say that you should stop listening to people tell you what to do, and that you need to talk to your spouse and come up with a plan that works for you and implement it. And then I tell you what you should do and how it should be done.
So how about this? How about you tell them why having a joint checking account or how it could benefit? Why don't you discuss how it could benefit, and then they can make a decision if those benefits.
Or I can just say, here's a place to think about. Here's something to think about. Where is all of the bills coming from?
Thank you. Thank you. I will take it.
I know how to pick them.
Oh my gosh. There you go.
Or save them. I saved them. So I think what we have to do is this. Where's the money coming into and where is the money coming out of? Where are you going to pay your bills and how? A handful of strategies that I've seen work is something like ours, where all the money goes into one, and then we disperse the money from there. All the money goes into each individual's checking accounts, and then we deposit however much our portion of the monthly bills or our contribution. Yeah. Then we dump that into the main account. And I've also seen marriages where they literally split every bill right down the middle, and then you just pay. I'll be the first person to say, look, I get it. All these people on the internet talking about a man got to pay all the bills and all this other shit. That's fine when you're dating, whatever. When you get married, if you are a woman and you are going to let our entire family drown because I don't want to pay for dinner, then you got to go.
You not contributing to anything.
Yeah, you gotta cut. You, I don't need no social norms in my marriage. I need. The Bible says you're supposed to be a help me, right? Well, help me, nigga. Help me. That's what I need you to do. Help me. I need some help. Don't be sitting over there talking about that's my husband. He do this, he do that. No, I need you to do something.
Unless you agree to that, I mean, because if you wanted to take care of it.
Don't know. Yeah. Well, if I take care, you better be in that kitchen cooking and cleaning and watching baseboards like my granny used to do.
You all know
all of that stuff.
You all know that I would anyways. Anybody who really, really knows me knows that I would anyways. You were the one that encouraged me to go to college and be this career woman.
Yeah, it was because I like money.
I mean, that's true too. So
I do.
I agree. I think the biggest thing is that
and you guys. Why would I want you just sit down? I work from home. You can't just be in here with me. I wouldn't get nothing done. That's how summers work.
That's true. But I think what the thing that you brought up that's really the most important is understanding that our system isn't going to work for everybody, just like everybody's system doesn't work for us. Because trust me, we've tried a lot of different systems. Not everybody needs to manage 4 different accounts. It works for us because
we got a lot of money coming in from different ways and different spaces, and people need it. And we got kids in college, and we got all of these moving pieces, investment properties, and ideas, and decisions, and all this other stuff. Some people don't need nothing like that.
Yeah, and if we're being honest with you, we're really not that good at money. Like, it sounds really awesome. Like, wow, you have 4 accounts and you're really managing all, and you're doing it. And to be honest with you, no. Because maybe I don't spend money on a consistent basis, but if Gerald and I are going to do something, we do it all the way. If we're going out to dinner, we go out to dinner. We're going out for a quick getaway for 4 hours. Oh, that's like the most extravagant 4 hours of your life.
That's all my fault. So here's the problem that we have in our finances. I'm in charge. And I will overrule the hell out of you. And if I feel like spending $1,000 at the casino because I feel lucky and I'm in Mesquite and I'm chilling, I'm spending $1,000. You're not gonna stop me. And I'm gonna convince you that you want to spend $1,000 as well.
He's very convincing.
As a matter of fact, I low key will spend $1,000 at the casino and not spend none of it and just sit behind you watching you spend it.
I know. I'll be in there. And the reason we're saying this is because this is a true story. Like, this legit happened. Like,
this shit happened in July.
Like, we went to Mesquite. We were like, we're just gonna spend like a little time. Mesquite's literally like an hour, if that, away from where we're at. It's inexpensive. We float around the pool. We eat dinner at Catherine's. We hang out and dance with the unrhythm folks at the little, I don't know, what is it, like the little lounge. It's great to watch them. Here, we'll do them with their non-rhythm. Like, we bring all the rhythm, and it's amazing.
100% of the rhythm is between us two.
So, but we'll go there, pull the money out, and I'm like, no, we don't need to. And he's like, nah, it's okay, we got this. Click, click, click. Grab the cash, and I'll sit there. I don't really gamble a lot. And he's like, here, come on, just throwing in hundreds, and I'm sitting there like, yeah.
Yep, having a great old time. So
we're not really that good.
We're not that good. We have now my best friend, bro. He is the best with money. He always on my shit for it. And he's like, you got all these streams of income and all this stuff. And this dude meticulously calculates every single dollar. I wish I did it too. But there needs to be a balance between those two people for whatever works for you and your family. Because if he's that way and he's going to manage every single dollar, his wife needs to be on board. When the disconnect is when you have this person. You ever seen what's that show? The Cheapskate Show?
Oh, Extreme Cheapskates.
Where you got a man or a woman who literally has hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Cooking lasagna.
This is my friend.
Lasagna in.
This is my friend.
In the dishwasher.
Same person. Maybe not as bad as cooking lasagna in the dishwasher or reusing, like not only flushing the toilet once a day, pooping outside of your house so that you don't have to flush.
I can't do it.
Please.
I cannot.
But for some people, it's a game. I know people who like the game of things. They gamify things, and that's how they stay on track. But it doesn't work for me. So the key to your financial health in your marriage is to make sure that both people are on the same page. It's the only way. The page that you're on doesn't matter, just as long as you're both there. The page that you're on doesn't matter, just as long as you're there. So that means if you are one of the two in that relationship, and you want to save every single dollar that you want. I listen to Dave Ramsey's podcast all the time. There's always somebody that calls in and they're like, "Hi, I'm really trying to follow your plan, and my husband just isn't on board." And I'm like, "Well, then I guess you can't do the plan, because if it isn't on board, if he's not on board, he's not. They're not going to let you do it. The other person won't let you accomplish it.
Or at least it's going to cause a lot of arguments, which what are you willing to do? What can you do at that point? Modify. Don't be so hard pressed. Don't be so hard pressed to do it exact the Dave Ramsey way. Does it work? 100% Dave Ramsey.
So we bought a house because of the Dave Ramsey
way. We did it, but we both were on board. If one person is not on board, you're going to cause a lot of unnecessary heartache over something that is extremely touchy. The reason why, in my opinion, the reason why finances and money in general can be extremely touchy in any relationship, and in particular marriage, because we spend our hard-earned time. That money just didn't frivolously jump into my account. That money was deposited into my account because I spent 800,000 hours a week outside of my house. That's personal. How many times have we bought something at the store? I've been at the store and I was like, oh my God, this shirt costs 2 hours of work.
Not me.
Oh,
I don't think like that. I don't make money like that though. So I don't have that same connection. I don't trade my time for money, which is probably why I'm so frivolous.
I mean, that's true, but a lot of times it is. But we're talking about not just us, but just why.
Yeah, I think that's 100% the case. I think sometimes
trust
we have different levels of value to money. For me, I don't care about money. Money's not that important to me. It's never been that important. I literally have only viewed money as a tool to do something that I want to do.
Which means you're not selfish with it.
But I'm not selfish. I'll give that shit away like it's nobody's business. But that also will make you broke from time to time. And I've been broke because I've given all my money away, legit. I've given away cell phones out of my pocket. It's the stupidest stuff. I've just given shit away, just giving it away.
And it could be to us too. Gerald is very selfless.
And I don't say no to my children. I don't say no at all. Actually, I'm trying to remember. If they ask for popcorn, so I'm like, no, you can't have popcorn. But if they're like, Dad, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. So for me, money is just a tool. It's like a hammer. If I'm walking through my life and I have my hammer in my hand and somebody's like, hey, can you come beat these nails in? That's what she said. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I got a hammer right here. Pop, 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 pop. If I leave my hammer or I break my hammer or I spent my hammer, then I'm just like, no, I can't nail any nails. Holla at your boy about 3 weeks because I'm gonna be on again. And that's how I've lived my life. I legit still live my life like that.
Yeah,
July, I spent $34,000 in 10 days. I won't tell you too much of the details.
But that's true.
But I spent that much. In 10 days, I spent 34 grand. Part of that 34 grand though was $1,000 that Julia spent at the casino.
No, I think that's the thing that's important to talk about too. We're talking about having 4 accounts and managing it, but we did all these things because we're not that good with money, and because we don't have we respect money, but because we're so willing to just do because we like to do, we had this safeguard. And to be honest with you, we're still really figuring that out because portion of that is paying off. Like you said, COVID is really hard. So a lot of us, like many other families, relied on some of the credit cards and some of the things to float. And then that creates extra bills or fees and increased interest and things like that. So you find yourself making a monthly payment only to have that account be $200 what the original amount was because you can't pay enough for the interest. So now you're paying more, which is where we found ourselves with one of our cards. We were making monthly payments, but we were still over because we just couldn't do it. So we paid down some of that stuff. But the thing is,
so we were paying it and then using it and then paying it and then using it and then paying it. It was just bad money, man. So the thing is that Your financial plan with your spouse needs to evolve. Like, there's two reasons why we meet at the end of the month as well to discuss what we have left, and that is, where do we need to make a change? Like, did this work for the month or not? Because I don't want to end the month with $4,000 in the bank or $4,000 left over when I literally feel like I spent 30 days struggling. That's just me. Some people are cool with that though. Like, Ben is 100% okay just struggling at the house, chilling, saying he broke with hundreds of $1,000s in the bank. I said his name. I wasn't supposed to say his name, but sorry. You know what I'm saying? Still, sorry. Sorry if you're listening, man. I didn't mean to put your business out there like that. Love you though. But that's how it works. So like, the thing is that you gotta find what works for you and your spouse, and then commit to continuously evolve it. Because your finances, and I don't want to take too much of your time, we've already been on this thing for an hour. Your finances are not different from your relationship. It needs to evolve. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be checked on as often as you can.
I feel like nurtured is also a good word too. Like,
nurtured.
It still needs to be taken the time. You need to take the time for the finances that you do with the relationship.
Absolutely. Because there's some things that look good on paper, but it don't look good in actuality. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in society about marriage that looks good on paper, but it doesn't work from a practical standpoint. Finances are no different. There is no cookie cutter way to get to where you're trying to go. There's only the way that you agree to with your spouse and that you commit to implement every single day. That's the only way. Anything else, good luck. Right?
I mean, you better prepare to have your boxing gloves on, because to be honest, it's difficult enough, and it's a very stressful thing to have to take care of other people, and the responsibility that we put on ourselves. You could be doing everything that you can, but when you can't meet the financial needs of the family, that's a very stressful thing. So to then add on a plan that your partner isn't on board with, it's extremely important to like pick and choose how you want to do it. I think it's also important that you yourself, I think which we said something earlier, which I want to bring it back to. You have to create that space. It is very important for you and your partner to communicate and create that safe space to discuss these things. If your partner is coming to you and you're not the one that's on board with something, there should at least, like you said before, there should at least be a discussion of why you feel that implementing this would benefit our family. And if there's some very valid points, then maybe you need to be the one to check yourself.
Absolutely.
And bring it down a little bit and let them know, like, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I see that this could benefit. I'm not comfortable with this, but I am comfortable with this. Mm-hmm. Can you be flexible in this plan? Because money is something that is very personal. It's also something that you have to build trust with. I don't want to trust you with this. I think a lot of finances I've heard this from women, I've heard this from men alike, but especially women, because I talk more about this like with women. I don't trust that this person is going to take care of this, so I will hold on to it to make sure that at least it's handled the way I feel it is. So that's why the communication is important. So this understanding of, how do you view money? How do I view money? What are finances? Gerald and I realized that like a week ago. When I say finances, I'm discussing paying the bills. When Gerald says finances, he's looking at the whole everything.
I'm thinking about where I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to put my family, what I want to lead to my grandkids.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking about all of that, and then I'm peeling it all the way back to where we are today.
Right.
When I tell finances to her, she's literally just calculating money coming in and money going out, and that's it. If it wasn't for me, she'd save every single dollar.
And if it wasn't for him, then he'd spend every. Which is why.
She'd work in a daycare, live in an apartment.
Maybe not the apartment part.
You would work in a daycare, live in an apartment, because you don't make enough money in a daycare.
Oh well, okay, fine. I see what you're saying. But that's important. That's why it works for us, because I'm a stepping stone type of person. I am the step-by-step process, and he is the bigger picture. His bigger picture gives me something like, oh, okay, I see what we're working towards. My stepping stone allows for him to see the steps in order it takes to get there. So we don't just.
And those two things are necessary, because I can't get to where I'm going to, where I want to take my family, if I don't have someone that can do the steps. And the show is called Yes We Fight. I want to make sure y'all know that the plan that we just told you, we fought about that for 10 years. How to get there. The processes and the specifics. And those fights are usually because I'm trying to put my 2 cents into a space that I don't have a right to say anything. I know I'm a spender. I'm going to spend all my little money up. If I'm giving the money over to Julia to handle, the only thing that I can actually give her is just the long-term plan. How she executes that is entirely up to her. As long as as long as she's making the steps to get to where I'm going to. So that plan looks like I need these bills paid here to leave money here so that I can have for this here, and then this money gets moved there for long-term financial bliss or vacations or whatever it may be. And then if there's a little bit left on this day, that you can take a percentage of this and move to our vacation account. Things like that. How she goes about doing that and organizing it and structuring it, it don't matter to me. It can't matter to me. It did for the longest time. I wanted to tell her when to do it, how to write it down so that I understood it. I don't need to understand none of it because I can't do it and I won't do it. So it is important for you that if you're going to pass something off to your significant other, get the hell out of the way and let them do it. If you don't trust them doing it, then you need to have a conversation. It's the only way. We should change the name to Yes We Communicate.
Yes, we. Oh, I know.
Because that's what it needs to be. Because no relationship works if you don't at least communicate. So it's already been an hour, almost to the dot, almost an hour and 50 seconds counting since I jumped on this thing screaming. It did go by fast. We had some pretty good interactions. I think we got all the way up to like 7 views at once. That's one more than we had last week. High five it. Cool. So that's good. If there's any topics that you like or want or anything else, great. Post them joints. And then we're going to we have a Facebook group that we started. I've already created it. I'll post that in the comments so that you can join our Facebook group. It's just Yes We Fight live Facebook group. I think I'll put a link in there. We don't know what we're doing, and that's a good thing. I think being able to get together as a community of people who support marriages, looking to get married, and everything in between.
Trying to stay married.
I 100% want the feedback from you guys. You know, having the feedback is beneficial for us because it helps our relationship get better and improve, and hopefully that what we share, you guys can use as well. And that's it for us. It's date night.
It is
8:00. What are y'all gonna do tonight? Hey, I think I'm gonna watch this football game that I keep looking at and work a little bit. Everybody else,
good night.
We will see y'all next week. When do you want to do the show?
I think Friday nights is good. It's date night. This can be part of our date night routine.
Yeah, because Saturdays is difficult for us to do anything.
Yeah, with all the kids.
With kids and everybody in basketball. I think Jerome got basketball.
Yeah, one of them's got a birthday weekend.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Happy birthday to my daughter. She turned 18.
Thank you to everybody that did comment. Hello.
Hey Matt, Wendy. Appreciate everybody for commenting and being a part of this thing. I think this is kind of cool and it's therapeutic for us. We hope that is beneficial for you. In the future, we definitely want to bring some couples on and let's have some couples discussions.
Yes.
So if you're interested in that, drop me a link, hit me up, let me know if you're into that. I want to have a couple come on and bring on one topic, maybe even play like some games or something like that. Like who knows what about what, or who about what about who. You know what I mean? Like that'd be dope. We're just creating a community where we can support each other as married people because it's hard out here for married people. All right, we out here just
Okay.
talking. All right, y'all. Thank you.